Hey guys, and welcome to my first look at Grim Dawn. This is an ARPG that's coming up. That's in alpha right now, early access. So there are some missing features, most notably multiplayer, which is, to a lot of people, kind of a big deal for an ARPG, but it is coming, so don't worry about that. But, you know, despite all that, I've actually been having a ton of fun with this game. I've probably put like 10 hours into it. It's just something I've been playing while I listen to streams and stuff. I love playing this kind of game, this ARPG kind of thing, while I'm listening to something else. It's always a good, just like, mind occupier, and I don't mean that as a bad thing at all. That's just how I treat these games, and I like these kind of games, and I think it's a good example of them. So why don't we get started on my Dong Lord Blade Master. Wait, am I a Blade Master? No, I'm a Night Blade, but I'm like hybriding now. But anyway, so as far as like differences from normal ARPGs, or similarities, I guess, first. This is my inventory screen. I've got a bunch of cool enchanted thingies that I'm wearing. I've got, I have some points. Let's put those into physique, I guess, for more HP and more ability to wear heavier armor. And down here I've got all my skills. I've actually rebound my controls so that anything plus 4, or past 4, is like Q, W, E, R, which makes it a lot easier for me because I'm used to Dota, I guess is probably the main thing, so I can use those buttons for that, and that's a binding I recommend. But I'm playing primarily as a Nightblade class. There are 4 classes. There's like the just in-your-face warrior, I think it's called a Blade Master. The Demolitionist, I should just go and start killing things while I go over this, I think. You know, similar waypoint system to most games, by the way. So let's just go and get into it, and I'll start killing things and showing off my abilities as I talk a little bit more about how the game works. So yeah, there's basically the warrior, the ranger, the mage, and the thief. But they all have different names. I am playing as the thief class, basically. It's a little bit different than you might expect. Like, I should definitely turn on my Veil of Night, I think, which I have bound to R, and that is a cool ability, and that's kind of what makes this class interesting, is that, like, you kind of focus on getting in and out, because as you can see, when I'm near these guys, they get that little sword over their head, and that substantially reduces their fighting ability. Like, it's a huge difference. I'm gonna break down this door. I was trying to shoot blades at that guy, but it's not working out for me. There we go. Nope. Okay. I guess I can't shoot up there. That's okay. But yeah, and you can see I have all of these AoE spells and everything, and I also have this gap closer. But, you know, in addition to that, I've got these long-range phantasmal blades that do a ton of damage. So I have to kind of judge when I'm in a fight, like, do I want to kite this guy around, or do I want to just jump into the middle of all these enemies and fuck them up? And this class excels in both, which is interesting, and I like it a lot. I haven't had too much experience with other classes, though one unique thing about this game is that you can hybrid 2 classes as soon as you reach, I think it's level 10. You can start working into another skill tree, so I got like near the max of Nightblade, got all of the cool actives from there, and then I've been basically just accruing passives from the warrior class that make me, you know, tankier. I have this one really cool passive where if I get down below a third of my health, then I gain a third of my health and some crazy regen for a little while. So it's a good, like, safety against being KO'd, basically. I'm not sure if I'm going the right way. Well, I'm going a new way, so that's probably correct. Yeah, this game's really good about you can just, like, kind of go in any direction you want and find something cool to do. And, you know, eventually you'll find the main quest, and it's all good. It's not the point, doing the main quest, I don't think. There are plenty of mini quests and little people to talk to and things like that, caves to explore, mini bosses to find. It's good stuff. So basically you just wander around until you finish the game, and I am totally okay with that. I pay probably less attention to the story than I should, but basically the story here is that you're this guy who got possessed by demons, and we're not seeing too many of those demons anymore. Now we're fighting other human factions, but for most of like the first act, we're fighting basically zombies that were actually humans that were like taken over by this alien demon race, and we were one of them. But then right before they hanged us, we came back to our senses, and they just started making us do things. Very standard ARPG story, like, oh good, you're not a demon anymore, well, we need some help. Why don't you go and kill 100 zombies all by yourself? Oh, good job, you did it. And then, you know, you become really respected in the community, and it's just how it goes. Nobody questions it. It's, you know, again, pretty standard ARPG story. I've also got these things to trap people with. And basically, like, if I'm taking damage, my way of doing things is, like, try to group them up by kiting them, but there's not enough to do it anymore. Then just jump in, do that AoE stun. Oh, I got incendiary shoulder blades of readiness. That actually sounds like an improvement over what I have. And obviously, that's another big part of this game, is just constantly, like, picking up loot, looking at it. Is that better than what I already have? I can get this bristly fur back out. That's like a buff that I'll talk about a little bit later. So this is, yeah, that's a lot better. So we should definitely head back to town really quick, and I'll show you guys another like aspect of the game. So this lady over here is she'll take things out of things for you. I've got in this shoulder, I've both got a bristly fur, and I've got these incendiary spalders. The incendiary spalders themselves are not super valuable, but the bristly fur, a little bit more rare. So I'm going to keep my add-on. I'm also going to pay a little bit of iron bits, which is the coin in this game. We keep our add-on, and we've got this bristly fur. We'll put that on the new shoulders and equip them. Sweet. Oh, we're wearing these and don't have a add-on to them yet. Let's go. I'm going to sell my shit here, and then I'll check out my stash, and we can look at that mechanic as well. Salvage pauldrons. Have a little bit more armor, but much less bonuses than we've got right now. That is a gun, which I don't use. I use melee weapons. There are a lot of my skills that only function with melee weapons. And also, a lot of my skills scale with weapon damage, which is why I'm using this mace. Also, I got a pretty sweet, like, unique mace. Can I wear this yet? Not quite. Level 24. But we want to think about upgrading these hand guards with something. Used in amulets. Weapons, shields, and offhands. Used in rings. So these are like the buffs that I was talking about. You get these randomly from enemies. And the goal is to turn them into like super versions. Like we've got a little bit of chilled steel here. It's a partial component. And then when you put them all together, then you get this big piece. But it doesn't look like I have anything that I can put in armor right now, so I'll just leave those gloves be. But yeah, so that's a kind of cool upgrade. They're basically like socketable gems from Diablo or Torchlight or what have you, but you know, with a little bit of a twist because you want to like collect them all basically and combine them into a super add-on, and that will often give you, well, it will always give you some kind of bonus stats. It will often also give you a special skill that you can use after getting that. Like there were early game, there were some cool spells that didn't scale well, obviously, but early on they were pretty neat. They were like fireballs and ice balls that you could spam, and those came from completed like low-level add-ons. So I'm really happy with my character. It's really satisfying to use, and that is, I think, a really important aspect of any ARPG, is to have a character that really feels good to just run around and kill a lot of shit with, because you're going to be killing a lot of shit. Yeah, I'm pretty much just like, you know, I focus down the more important targets by throwing those things at them, the phantasmal blades, I think, and those cause like damage over time and a bunch of damage. I've upgraded them many times over the course of this character. Have I already been in here? No, I haven't. This kind of is a familiar setup, but not really. Just, I remember railroad tracks over other ones. I was making sure I wasn't just redoing a dungeon, though that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. And again, I am actually pretty far into the game. I think I've probably put like 10 hours into this game, more than I meant to, for sure. It's just one of those games where you get caught up in it and all of a sudden you're like, oh man, I've been playing this for like hours. I should have been doing something. And that's to me anyway, that's pretty high praise for an ARPG, to just kind of suck you in like that. In the past, I've really enjoyed Path of Exile especially, and this game has both like upsides and downsides compared to Path of Exile. I'm going to be honest, I really prefer the way Path of Exile does leveling to any other ARPG. This one included. Like, it just has a really cool skill tree. But it has pretty bad servers and you can't play it offline. So you end up just like dying to bullshit all the time. It's really frustrating. Like when early game, it's not a big deal because you can survive pretty well. Oh Jesus, I'm getting hit a lot. It's time to start kiting. But if I need to, I can like hold these guys down with those daggers. Like I just hit 2 and they get stuck, and then I can run away. And in this game, your health actually comes back when you run, which is a cool mechanic. But anyway, yeah, it's nice playing a Path of Exile-like game, which is a game I've spent a shitload of time with, where I don't have to worry about just lagging out and dying. You know, it's never not going to be my fault when I die in this game, and kind of as a result, I haven't died yet. But, you know, I play cautiously. I've got all these potions that I can use if I need to, but I avoid using them, so I always have them in an emergency, and as a result, I have like 40 of them. I'm bad at using stuff like that. This is a little bit of an annoying fight. What happened to that animal? Alright, now we're killing Halion the rat. This guy should be pretty fucked now that he doesn't have his friends with him. Let's see, what else can I use? Oh yeah, my W is something I often forget to use. It's a little buff that I can put on me, and it also instantly heals some health. So very handy in like standoffs like this, but you know, when I'm not in a standoff, I tend to forget about it. The blades do enough damage that I just use them off cooldown. I have those on my right click, by the way. You can see them over there. This guy's just about dead. This guy probably counts as some kind of mini-boss. We'll kill him and grab all his shit. Some scavenged plating. That sounds like a pretty good add-on. I think probably a fairly high-tier one. Let's see. Are we getting anything useful from that? Probably not. This mace is probably going to go out of style soon. I actually got it pretty early on, but it's you can see this purple, and I think that means it's a unique item in this game. And unique items are really good from what I've seen. I've gotten a few of them, and this mace has served me for many levels consecutively without being replaced by anything, or even coming close to being replaced by anything. So hopefully soonish I'll find a better mace. Or a better weapon, but it has to be, like, this guy is not for using swords at all. I think the swords are more of a thing for the warrior class, whereas big heavy weapons are for the rogue classes, which is, again, kind of a weird thing. This rogue does not follow all of the standard rogue tropes. There's some of them, like the shadow strike and everything, and getting in close to enemies to kill them, but the fact that he works best with big heavy weapons is interesting and kind of fun. Because, again, he spends most of his time not actually hitting with his weapon, but just using skills that scale with his weapons. Like, this one does some bleeding damage plus 25% weapon damage. So the higher damage your weapon is, the higher damage that skill is going to do. And that applies for most of my skills, especially I think the Phantasmal Blades scale pretty strongly with how much weapon damage I'm doing. Oh, nice, I've got a skull fetish now, so I'll have to explain that to my parents. I've been there. Man, you guys ever have to explain a fetish to your parents? I'm just kidding. I don't know what I'm talking about. So yeah, this is one of those games where it's kind of hard to make gameplay of it interesting, because it really is, when you're watching it, just the same shit over and over again, and then sometimes I'll like go into my inventory and be like, ooh, that's a really neat thing. But when you play it yourself, you're just like totally into it. And you know, I'm sure if any of you guys have played an ARPG before, you kind of know what the deal with that is. You know, you're gonna know if this is your genre or not. And I don't think this is a genre transcending example of a ARPG. Like I don't think if you hated Diablo, you're gonna love Grim Dawn. But I do think if you like ARPGs, you might find this one pretty solid. And again, multiplayer is coming, but does not exist yet, so I cannot speak at all on whether the netcode... This seems like a really weird area for there to be nothing, doesn't it? Like, I really feel like I'm missing something here. I thought there was going to be a boss up here or something. Anyway. What was I about to say? Yeah, I can't speak on the netcode for the multiplayer at all, but I do know that as soon as the multiplayer comes out, definitely going to be playing some with Zen. We'll probably do a Green versus Zen that is basically we just hang out and play Grim Dawn together, which I think will be a lot of fun. But for right now, I can't speak about that, but as a single-player ARPG, I enjoyed a lot, and I can definitely already see a lot of synergy possible with skills. Like, I can hold people still, and then spells can be cast under them, or I can, come on, man. I think he put something on me that made me miss a bunch of shots. Like, I can stand next to people, and they'll be lacking their defenses and attack power because of this aura around me, and that could help out like a mage who wants to cast from far away, or a ranger, and yeah, stuff like that. Really, it's cool. I like it. I enjoy my time with this game, and I think it's going to be fun in multiplayer as well. But again, maybe I guess I should show off leveling, but it's going to take me a long time to get a level. So in the meantime, I can just find out how to get to the skills tree. I've just filled my inventory. Come on, guys. Let's just die so that I can do some inventory management. Let's, I might be able to just rearrange this. Stop! Stop it. Just stop. And, you know, common problem, but again, I'm not playing on a harder difficulty, so if I played on a harder difficulty, this would probably be a lot harder for me. But this does have the classic ARPG feeling of like, I could just stand still and these guys would not be able to kill me. But if I turned up the difficulty, it would just be like, oh, I've just got to chug health potions a lot. So, you know, again, not genre redefining. That's a problem I've had with like every single ARPG I've played, and this one is no different. But that's okay. I'm gonna head back to town and sell some shit, and then pick up that other shit, because this is something you do a lot. I don't feel like this is unrepresentative of the game. What is this? Pierce resistance, whatever. I don't think any of this is likely to be useful for me. Venom tipped ammo. Partial component used in guns and crossbows. Okay, so I'm not going to be able to use that because I don't use guns, but I have a feeling it'll sell for a lot more if I complete it. Scavenge plating seems pretty neat. Energizing leather belt of zeal. I'm actually about to get a really good belt. Like I have a unique one, so it doesn't matter too much if I decide to use this. +2 total speed, whatever. Should have checked those boots. I can actually go back and do that. Nah. I like move speed on my boots. It's good stuff. And that's pretty much like that is Grim Dawn. Go out and kill a bunch of dudes, fill your inventory, grab more stuff, sell it to the dude, come back here and occasionally level up and gain another incredible power, which is cool. So let's see if I can open up the skills window really quick so you guys can understand how that works. Is it S? Yes, it is S. So this is the warrior skill tree, which I've only just started. And the way it works is you can see all these lines across it that line up with these icons. You have to level up just like basically stat points in a class before you can get any of the special passives and actives that come with the class. So, you know, I put another level in here. I'll get 5 more physique, 1 spirit, 3 cunning, like 34 health, and 10 energy. Energy being like mana, basically. And but as I do that, I also level up enough to get these stats. So at just 1 stat point, I could have had any of these that I wanted. And I'm not going to slow down to explain those because I don't know what they are because I don't have them. But this is Menhir's Will, which I got recently. Requires a shield, but activates when health drops below 33%. And you can use it every 25 seconds, and it just heals you a bunch. Which is really nice. Like, really, really good. So I picked that up. But that required me to put 5 points. And you get 3 points every time you level up, I think. Or is it 4? I forget. I haven't leveled up in a long time. But 5 points into there allows you to get 1 point in that, and then you can level it up all the way to 16, and if I level it up, it'll give me like 2% more of my health restored. I find that most skills tend to scale pretty poorly, so I keep them pretty low level, but after I max out, then I'll probably go back and start maxing out those skills. But first, I think it's more important to just get all the skills. And speaking of which, I've put a ton of points into Nightblade. I'm up to level 40, maybe it looks like even 41 here. And, you know, as a result, there's my Veil of Shadow. That's my aura that makes everything shitty around me. It's 4 meters around me, minus 16 offensive ability and 10 defensive ability. I don't know what those do exactly, but it makes it harder for things to defend and attack me, so that's cool. And it reserves 27 of my energy, which is nothing. 27 of my 1,242 energy is unusable to me because of this. And it also gives them minus 8% physical damage resistance, so very handy. And then up here, I've upgraded that skill. You can see they're linked with this Night's Chill, which causes enemies afflicted to also take 3 Frostburn damage per second, minus 5% attack speed and casting speed, and minus 5% piercing resistance. Piercing resistance is really good because I have Phantasmal Blades, which do 39 to 66 piercing damage, as well as 37% of my weapon damage. They have a 20% chance to pass through enemies. And then I've upgraded it with this, which gives us even more chance to pass through enemies. Next level, like, I think this is actually the skill that gave them the chance to pass through enemies. And it also adds a percentage of pierce damage and some bleeding damage. And then these ones up here give us even more bleeding damage and some chaos damage. So as you level up, you can level up your earlier skills more and more to give them more interesting effects. And those all scale much better than just putting more points into the original skill. Here's my Shadow Strike, which I've updated with poison damage. So it's basically, you know, you hit the dude, does 133% of my weapon damage, plus a bunch of piercing damage, stun for some seconds, some movement speed on me, which is really nice, actually, because I can jump in, use my stun. But anyway, you get the idea here. Like, I've got all these different skills. I've also got some passives. This one, I, like, steal energy from things that attack me. This one, I just do more damage, basically. And this one, I get some extra elemental damage. And there are a lot more passives in Soldier, which I'm going to pick up. But anyway, that is kind of how this game works. I think, again, that if you guys are ARPG aficionados, you will know whether this, or did I say ARG? ARPG is the correct thing there. But anyway, you guys can probably tell that I think this is a pretty good example of the ARPG genre, especially for an alpha. I'm really excited to see what they do with it in the future. But so far, it seems pretty well balanced. Seems like a lot of fun. Just something I can easily lose myself in, just killing enemies a bunch. And yeah, I recommend it. Thank you guys for watching. Definitely check out Grim Dawn on Steam. I should be leaving a link in the description if you are interested. And again, hold out if you want multiplayer to play with your friends, because it is coming, but I can't tell you how good it is yet. And I will definitely be covering it more with friend of the channel, Zen, when that does come out. So if you're interested in multiplayer, just hold off for a little while, because it does not exist yet. And it does actually say multiplayer on the Steam page, which confused me when I got it. I was like, Zen, we should play this together. And he was like, is that out yet? And I was like, oh, no, it's not. So definitely do be aware of that. But anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.